My name is Carlos Rodriguez, and for 15 years, I lived a life of violence on the streets of Los Angeles. I was a gang member. I sold substances. I was involved in activities that hurt people and destroyed communities. I believed the streets were all I had. I believed there was no way out. I believed I would either end up in prison for life or die young. But on August 9, 2019, I was critically injured during a confrontation and died for 14 minutes. And in those 14 minutes, I met Jesus Christ. And he looked at me with eyes full of love and said, "Carlos, I have been waiting for you." That encounter saved my life. And today, I'm going to tell you how a gang member who thought he was beyond saving discovered that no one is too far gone for God's grace. Welcome to the Soul Gate, where we share real testimonies from people who have crossed the threshold between life and death and returned with messages of hope, redemption, and transformation. Today's testimony comes from Carlos Rodriguez, a former gang member whose near-death experience proved that God's love can reach anyone, anywhere, no matter what they've done. Subscribe and turn on notifications for powerful testimonies every Tuesday and Friday. This is Carlos's story. I was born in East Los Angeles in 1990. My neighborhood was rough. My father left when I was 5. My mother worked 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. I grew up seeing the older guys in my neighborhood wearing certain colors, getting respect, making money. They had cars. They had nice clothes. People feared them. And when you're a kid with nothing, that looks like success. When I was 13, I joined a local group. They became my family. They gave me a sense of belonging that I never had at home. By 15, I was deeply involved in street activities. I won't go into details, but I was making money through methods that harmed my community. I got my first marking on my skin at 16, symbols that showed my loyalty to the group. By 18, I was covered in markings from my neck to my hands. My mother cried every time she saw me. She begged me to leave that life. She told me, "Carlos, you're going to end up in prison or in a grave." I told her, "This is who I am, Mom. The streets raised me. This is all I know." She was a Christian woman. She prayed for me every single day. But I didn't believe in God. I thought prayer was useless. I thought, if God was real, why would He let me grow up like this? Why would He let my father leave? Why would He let us struggle? So I rejected faith. I rejected church. I rejected everything my mother believed in. For 15 years, I lived that life. I saw friends get taken from us. I saw people harmed. I was involved in situations I'm deeply ashamed of now. And I knew I was on a path to destruction. But I didn't know how to get out. Then, on August 9, 2019, everything changed. I was in a situation that went wrong. There was a confrontation. Things escalated quickly. I remember feeling a sharp pain in my chest. I couldn't breathe. Everything started spinning. I collapsed on the pavement. I could hear people shouting around me. I could feel my heart pounding slower and slower. And then it stopped. I died right there on the street. The next thing I knew, I wasn't on the street anymore. I was standing in complete darkness. But I could still see myself. I looked down at my hands, and I saw all the markings on my skin. All the symbols of my past. And I felt overwhelming shame. Not because of what the markings represented to the world, but because I knew, deep down, that I had wasted my life. I had hurt people. I had caused pain. I had destroyed families by contributing to the problems in my community. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to be judged now. And I deserve whatever punishment is coming. Then I heard a voice. A gentle voice that said, "Carlos, why are you afraid?" I turned, and I saw a man standing in front of me. He was wearing simple clothes, glowing with a soft light. And somehow, I knew exactly who he was. It was Jesus. I fell to my knees immediately. I didn't even think about it. My body just collapsed in reverence. I said, "Jesus, I'm sorry. I know I don't deserve to be here. I've done terrible things. I'm a bad person. And Jesus knelt down beside me. He looked me in the eyes, and he said something I will never forget. Carlos, I know everything you've done. And I still love you. Tears started pouring down my face. How? How can you love me? I rejected you. I hurt people. I chose the streets over you. Jesus said, I have been with you every single day of your life. When you were hungry, I was there. When you were afraid, I was there. When you were lost, I was searching for you. He showed me something then. A vision of my life, but from his perspective. I saw moments I had forgotten. Times when I should have been harmed but wasn't. Times when situations could have ended much worse but didn't. I saw my mother praying for me every night. And I saw Jesus standing beside her, listening to every word. Jesus said, Your mother's prayers have covered you, Carlos. That's why you're still alive. That's why I'm giving you this chance. I was overwhelmed. What chance? What do you want me to do? Jesus said, Go back. Leave that life. And tell the young men in your neighborhood that there is another way. Tell them that I love them. Tell them that they are not defined by their past. Tell them that I can give them a new life. I looked at him and said, But I don't know how to live any other way. The streets are all I know. Jesus smiled and said, I will teach you. I will guide you. But you have to trust me. He reached out and touched the markings on my arms. And as he touched them, I saw something incredible. The markings didn't disappear, but they were covered with light. And I understood what he was showing me. My past doesn't have to define my future. Yes, I have scars. Yes, I have a history. But God can redeem all of it. Jesus said, Your scars will become your testimony. You will use your story to reach people I cannot reach through a pastor or a preacher. You will reach the streets because you know the streets. Then he touched my chest, right where my heart was, and I felt warmth flood through my entire body. And in an instant, I was back. I gasped for air and opened my eyes. Paramedics were standing over me, working frantically. He's back! We've got a pulse. One of them said, You're lucky to be alive, man. You were gone for almost 14 minutes. But I wasn't thinking about luck. I was thinking about Jesus. About what he said to me. About the second chance he gave me. When I got out of the hospital 2 weeks later, the first thing I did was go to my mother's house. I knocked on the door, and when she opened it and saw me standing there, she started crying. I hugged her and said, Mom, you were right. God is real. And he saved me. She wept in my arms and said, I knew he would. I never stopped praying. That week, I left the group I had been part of for 15 years. I told them I was done. Some of them understood. Some of them were angry. But I didn't care. I had encountered Jesus, and nothing else mattered. I started going to church with my mother. At first, people stared at me because of my appearance, because of the markings on my skin. But I didn't let that stop me. I stood up in church one Sunday and shared my testimony. I told them about my past. I told them about meeting Jesus. And I told them that if God could save me, he could save anyone. After that service, 3 young men from my old neighborhood came up to me. They said, Carlos, if you can change, maybe we can too. And that's when I realized, this was my mission. This was why Jesus sent me back. Today, I run a ministry for former gang members. I go into the neighborhoods, into the streets, and I tell young men that there is hope. That they are loved. That Jesus is real. I still have the markings on my skin. But now, they're conversation starters. People ask me about them, and I get to tell them my story. I tell them, these markings used to represent my past. But now, they represent God's grace. If you're watching this and you're involved in a lifestyle that you know is destructive, whether it's gangs, substance use, or anything else, I want you to know something. You are not too far gone. You are not beyond saving. I was as far gone as you can get. I had hurt people. I had done things I can never undo. But Jesus still loved me. He still reached out to me. He still gave me a second chance. And He will do the same for you. All you have to do is cry out to Him. Say, Jesus, I need you. I can't do this on my own. Save me. And I promise you, He will answer. Don't wait until you're on the street dying, like I was. Reach out to Him today. Carlos Rodriguez's testimony is a powerful reminder that no one is beyond the reach of God's grace. If this testimony has impacted you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Especially young people who feel trapped in a life they don't know how to escape. Subscribe to the Soul Gate for more testimonies every Tuesday and Friday. And remember, Jesus said, I have come to seek and save the lost. No matter where you are, no matter what you've done, He is searching for you. I'll see you in the next testimony. God bless you.